Hello, Michael. How are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic, Tony. How are you?
I am surviving.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Excited about the topic today. Food is a big passion of mine, and not eating processed, chemical laden, food dye covered foods is also a passion of mine. So,
Yes. Yes. I love the whole health, you know, the whole health being healthy topic in general. I've done so much research over the years. Um, you know, I know we're going to get into Kennedy, but the very first thing that gave me panic attacks 20 years ago was when I was learning about high fructose corn syrup.
yeah.
I'd be going through the grocery stores to go shopping and just having panic attack after panic attack. And that's when I quit buying of course I quit buying anything with high fructose corn syrup in it, but we quit trying like new foods. Like if I don't know what it tastes like, I will never know what I'm missing.
Yeah.
I thought we could start with a funny video.
Sure. Yeah. So, we're going to be talking about the new food permit first, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
I love
see,
that.
what is that? Wine, indica, sativa. Oh, this is the wrong one. Let me pull that off. We'll pull the right one up after the video. You want to go ahead?
I love it.
You want to put that up on the screen?
Button.
Yeah, you need to present it.
Yeah, hold on. I'm getting there. I'm a little slow today.
Yep, no worries.
All right, here we go.
It is upside down.
Turn the pyramid upside down. You can't be serious. That would put butter and fat at the top of the damn food pyramid. Get the president on the phone. Tell him to have some steak with his butter.
And the funny thing is that they use the graphic, right?
I know. Apparently, that's actually an episode of South Park. That's an actual episode. I want to go find the episode and watch it and see what else is in there. I've never watched it ever, but I thought it would be pretty funny.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me go ahead and pull up realfood.gov, right? And that is the website you can go to look at the new dietary guidelines, defining real food as whole, nutrient dense, and naturally occurring, placing them back at the center of our diets. A lot of people don't really know that most food out there probably shouldn't even be considered food because it's so highly processed, right? And they add chemicals to it. And even the organic food that says organic, you can have like 240 inorganic ingredients. Like you can spray it with chlorine and it'll still be considered organic,
Right.
So
that was my biggest, one thing that we do is we pay attention to the companies who own the food, and subsidiaries and everything. And there's a lot of big brand organic food like I will not participate in because they're just they're destroying what organic food actually means these days.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then there's companies that are not organic that you can trust because they are using organic stuff, and like you can trust the companies, but you have to do your research. That's what really sucks about the whole thing.
Yeah, the thing is, like our supplements we make, we're not certified organic, right? Our canine health supplements also, like they're not certified organic, but we test for pesticides and heavy metals and mycotoxins and microbials. We're actually testing for these things. Whereas the other companies, they might have got organic certification, but they're not testing for those things because there are pesticides that can be used in organic food, unfortunately.
Right. And a lot of people don't know that, everybody, it's really sad to me because, regardless, you are definitely better off eating organic, right? I mean, it is definitely at a much lower threshold. And, but it's really sad to me when people think it just doesn't matter at all. Like it's not important and it's all bullshit because I mean, we try to be really careful, but it's not complete bullshit. Like, you're still getting better food.
Yeah. You want me to, let me go ahead and play the announcement. View the
announcement.
Yeah.
America is facing a full-scale health emergency. More than 70% of adults are overweight or obese. More than half are diabetic or pre-diabetic. Chronic disease touches nearly every single American family. This did not happen by accident. It happened because real food was pushed aside, replaced by highly processed products. Junk food became the foundation of the modern American diet, and we're paying the price with our health. But that ends today. We are resetting how our nation eats. Real food is back at the center of the American diet. Real food that nourishes the body, that restores health, that brings back energy, and that builds strength. This is what it takes to make America healthy again. Under the leadership of President Trump, we are reclaiming the food pyramid and fixing a system that has been broken for far too long. Today, HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and USDA Secretary Brooke Rollins introduced the most significant change to federal nutrition guidance in the history of this nation. This is the new pyramid, Dietary Guidelines for Americans, a national reset built on real food.
So there was something in there that really struck me as hypocritical, right? So when they said under the leadership of President Trump, like, do you think they actually meant that? Do you think if RFK was not in there as HHS secretary, do you think that this food pyramid thing would have even changed at all?
No.
Because I know President Trump as liking or loving his McDonald's, loving his Diet Coke. You know, that's what he's promoted.
Do you know why? Do you know why I've heard that he eats like that?
Why?
Because nobody's going to expect him to show up at a McDonald's and poison him. I don't know if that's true, but, you know.
The thing is, okay, so he eats highly processed foods, right? So we know, you think it's just his ego. Like, they had to include that in the video, under the leadership of President Trump. It's like, come on. We all know
everything is his ego.
Yeah, we all know that he would not be implementing this stuff if it wasn't for RFK. We know that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think it's really exciting. I'm glad, you know, I know that everybody wanted to see him as president. Everybody still has hope that he will, you know, run for president in 2028. I don't personally see that happening. I think that he's exactly where he needs to be. I think that he is doing exactly what needs to happen, and he needs to continue pushing back on these companies. You know, people don't, most people are not aware of the fact that I don't know the year, so I'm not going to say in anything, but the chemical companies and the scientists that were working on tobacco and cigarettes, okay, when that industry started to fall apart, they moved over to the food industry. And so those scientists then started working with the food industry, and how can we make that addictive? The mechanism in your brain that tells you when you're full is actually chewing, right? And so when the more times you chew your food, the more full your body thinks you are. And what they did was they made food soft, easy to eat. You know, think of a Pringles. You stick that in your mouth and it almost just dissolves. You know, you can eat a can of Pringles, I would think, you know, and it's because, and that's how we've got, you know, and then it's laden with the oils and the sugars and all the chemicals that, you know, make us fat. And it's, you know, people don't know that these industries have done this on purpose. This is not by accident. This is on purpose.
Yeah, so I have friends, and they've gone to Italy, and they've gone to Spain, and they've gone to France, and they said they have eaten more and drank more there, and when they got home, they lost weight.
Yeah.
Like, because a lot of the same chemicals are not allowed.
Right. Breads and pastas. They're eating it all over there. You hear that constantly. People come back and they've lost 10 pounds and all they did was eat bread, pasta, and drink wine.
Yeah, because the bread and pasta doesn't have like a bunch of extra chemicals added to it. It's flour, it's yeast, it's water, it's, maybe a couple more.
The flour, even the ingredients in our flour, right? If you're not buying organic flour, they've added all those ingredients in your flour that are in the bread. So it's all enriched and it's all got the folic acid added to it and it's all got this crap added to it that is not good for you. And so unless you're buying organic flour, and you're trying to cook at home, right? There's a lot of people that try to do that and try to be healthy, but they're still putting that in there to kind of backfire on you.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I'm glad this is happening. I'm glad it's moving forward. Do you expect our government here in Washington State to accept this or push back like they're doing with the vaccine mandates or non-mandates?
Man, I have a hard time understanding why anybody could think that this is bad. It does not make sense to me at all where the downside is, except that it's misinformation, right? It's a misunderstood. I know people who haven't eaten fat in years because they're told that it's bad for you, right? And they can't bring themselves. They can't bring themselves to drink milk that is, whole milk. They can't bring themselves to use butter or, just things that make sense. Like, we don't understand how much our brain needs this stuff. They just like, nobody understands that sugar is actually what causes high cholesterol. It goes in there and it just perforates your arteries. And then the cholesterol goes in and clogs it all up because it's fixing what the sugar is causing. And that's how you get high cholesterol. It's got nothing to do with eating an egg.
We buy raw milk from Oregon. We got to drive across the border to pick it up. I eat fatty steak. Like, the brain is made of fat. People don't realize that. There's a lot of fatty material in there. And animal products, high quality animal products, are very important.
That's the difference, right? High quality animal products.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that don't understand, like, oats will leach minerals from your body, like you and your brain. Like, oats are bad. And then oat milk or almond milk and all of these chemical additives that are being put in there.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy what people think is healthy.
Well, and here's what's really messed up. We went to, we've seen a few dietitians. I was 400 pounds and I needed double knee replacement. I couldn't lose weight because I was too heavy. Because my knees were so bad, I couldn't get up and move. I went to a dietitian because I wanted to try to jump through the hoops to get weight loss surgery. And through my insurance. Ultimately, I ended up going to Mexico because they tried to figure out, they did every test that they could to see if I was insulin resistant. I went to a dietitian and she couldn't figure out, it happened to be during COVID. And so I was on the video call with her and I was showing her the food that I was eating because I had mentioned to her that for breakfast, I would eat sausage and eggs, spinach, and like sweet potato or something, right? And she's like, oh, well, the sausage is not good because she's assuming I'm eating Jimmy Dean. And so I show her the package of this organic grass-fed sausage that I was eating. And she's like, well, I don't understand. I don't understand why is it so low in saturated fats? And I'm like, my God, like, you don't understand the food that I'm eating. You can't help me. She's used to telling people that are drinking Coca-Cola or Diet Coke all day to drink Crystal Light, and that's the kind of person that she's, and it's unfortunate, so unfortunately for us, for me, it was no help, but then Glenn's diabetic. And so we had to go, not had to, but we chose to go to a nutritionist to see what they had to say. I have met one nutritionist that knew more than me. Okay. This nutritionist we were asking her, like, if he did not eat carbs, would he need the insulin, right? Because that's what spikes your insulin, or carbs. And she kept telling us, well, you have to think about your quality of life. And we're like,
wait, what?
It took us 10 minutes to go round and round and I finally was just like, what do you mean by quality of life? Like, what exactly are you referring to? And she literally was talking about having a piece of cake, of eating, eating these things that spike your insulin, as quality of life. And I'm like, okay,
wow.
But I want my quality of life to be, I'm not dying in a hospital bed. That's not where I want to die. I would rather die hiking off, falling off a cliff that I just hiked to the top of.
Yeah, well, I can understand that argument. There's people who smoke cigarettes that are like, why would I quit smoking cigarettes? Because if I quit, I'm not going to enjoy life, right? Might as well just keep going, or drinking, or
right.
Like, there's people who are like that.
It's an addiction.
Yeah, I've talked to cancer patients and I've told them, like, you have to stop eating sugar, and they're like, I'm just not going to. I'm just going to keep eating it, and then they die. Yeah. Unfortunately, right? But there's people who just won't do the things necessary and cut out the causes.
Well, look, I did not understand, like, when I went on the diet for the surgery, right? Because you have to shrink your liver, so you have to go on this really strict diet before you have the surgery. And I had to cut all of my dairy and all of my sugar. I had withdrawals like no other. And keep in mind, like, we do eat organic. Like, we eat far healthier than most people I know. But I still had withdrawals. But it got better. I have had asthma since I was 2 years old. And I have a nebulizer. I used to get sinus infections twice a year, all kinds of stuff. When I cut down my dairy and my sugar, I have 7 or 8 inhalers in my drawer that I haven't touched. I have no more problems with my asthma. I don't. This right now is all because we ate like shit all through December. It's a tradition to make cinnamon rolls. So I make cinnamon rolls, and then we ate them because we thought, I don't want to waste them. We ended up throwing away like a pan and a half because literally, and nobody wanted them because everybody's trying to get off of it, which is amazing and great. So I won't be doing it next year. This is not happening next year. Darn it. But it's all because I ate like crap.
Yeah. People get sick in the winter. Why is that? It's because they're gorging on candy and cake and desserts and other things. Thanksgiving comes around and they're really getting sick because sugar suppresses your immune system and it makes you susceptible to getting sick. Not only that, but the vaccines increase the chances of you getting sick as well. Especially the ones that are the live flu vaccines. Like, surprise, surprise.
And then we're sitting around inside.
Yep, inside, because it's cold outside, so you're not doing as much. So you're sitting on the couch, watching TV, not moving around, not getting your body going. And then your sleep sucks at the same time because you're not exhausting yourself to get deep sleep, So you're not healing. Your body's not healing. You're not getting into REM sleep as much. So it's just a cycle, and people need to understand the reasons. It's not just you're sick because there's something going around. It's like, no, you're sick because it's lifestyle choices.
Right. This 100% blame on cinnamon rolls and Nisua. And God knows what else I ate.
Yep.
So I am
talking about these things.
Yeah. The other place that they talk about where this really hits is in our health system, right? Because people are chronically ill from the food, and we don't realize what an impact it is having on our health and the health system. 25% of the people in the state are on Apple Health, and the budget for Apple Health is $8 billion.
Yeah. Out
of our general fund. And, that's, what is it? And then other funds are 24 billion. So what is this? So the Healthcare Authority, this shows the agency's budget by funding type. So it's like $32 billion.
Yeah, so that's crazy. People who support Apple Health and other forms of universal health care, like they call it universal health care, but it's really not. It's
No.
very specific towards pharmaceutical companies. True universal health care to me means that it covers any treatment that the patient wants. If you have cancer and the only option is chemo and radiation, well, that's not universal health care. Universal health care would be, yeah, we're going to help you get better food. We're going to help you get some of these experimental holistic treatments,
Right.
right?
Instead, they tell you that your diet doesn't matter, and they feed you sugar in the hospital while you're getting better. And they feed you the worst, oh my God, the worst foods in the hospitals as they're telling you that they're healing you.
Yeah, it's horrible. And you can get Coke or Pepsi, that you go in for a chemotherapy radiation appointment and they're giving you orange juice that's fortified with sugar or whatever else. Like that's not health. Sugar literally feeds the cancer.
Right.
And these people who are supposedly experts, oncologists, don't recognize this.
Yeah.
Like they don't recognize that the diet that someone has, if it's a high sugar, high carb diet, like that's causing the cancer, that is literally feeding the cancer. And their solution is just chemo and radiation, but letting that person continue to feed the cancer, then they wonder why the patient dies.
Right.
It's crazy.
And no, I know somebody who literally just went to the doctors for cancer, and she was really excited because I had talked to her about everything, and she was drinking water and she was doing all these great things. And the doctor literally told her none of that matters. The chemo that we're going to do for you isn't going to help. You'll probably end up with cancer again, but we're going to do it anyway. And your diet nothing that you're doing is actually going to help you either.
Yeah.
I'm like, and so she was, it makes me sick to my stomach, but she was so discouraged that at this point, I haven't seen her back for Reiki. I haven't, I know she's not drinking her water or doing what she should be doing because the doctor discouraged it.
Yep. That's crazy. Yeah. And, that's the thing. It's the hardest thing to do for us to convince someone to go the holistic route because their oncologist does not support it.
Yeah.
You tell the oncologist, take high doses of CBD, take high doses of vitamin C intravenously, take, X, Y, and Z, change, cut out sugars, cut out carbs. The oncologist says, none of that's going to work for you. I know for a fact none of it will work. The only thing is chemo and radiation.
Yep.
They tell that to patients. So then they'll come back and say, oh, my doctor says not to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to do it.
Because we still think that our doctors are the authority figure.
And they're not. They're not. They're using
and telling
AI
your doctor
now.
no is hard. It's so hard to say no in the beginning, right? When you start doing it, it's so hard.
Well, at the end of the day, you are responsible for your health. No one else is responsible for your health, especially not some doctor that's getting paid, X hundreds of thousands of dollars a year from the treatments that they're prescribing. And if they prescribed good diet and natural treatments, they wouldn't be making nearly as much.
Right.
And they have vacation homes and their kids are in college and they need to pump these cancer patients through so they get their $350,000 a year salary.
Right. So I saw something interesting about the food pyramid because I'm trying to pay attention to what people's problems are. Right. And so we know that people have a fear of fat because they think that fat makes you fat. They think that cholesterol gives you high cholesterol, right? We have all these things wrong. But do you understand what the problem is with protein? Because I've seen that I've seen them talk about it like, oh my God, like too much protein. And I'm like,
so look, I am not a fan of all these extreme diets, right?
No,
carnivore, right? Or veganism or any of that. I eat a whole food diet, good protein, good vegetables, cut down a lot of the processed stuff. I'll eat some bread, some sourdough here and there. But I try to do my best, and occasionally I'll get some Chinese food, or occasionally I'll get a burger, right? But I don't do it every day.
Right.
And, but my whole thing is whole food, as fresh as possible, as little processed as possible.
Right.
Right. But these people that are pushing extreme diets, like only meat, right? Only carnivore, only, or only plants. It just doesn't work. I don't think we're meant to eat like that.
No, I think it needs to be a well-rounded diet.
That's what
But protein is so important for building muscle and staying strong. Like it kind of threw me for why anybody would think that eating protein was bad. I didn't.
Well, I can tell you right now, I know some vegans that will tell you that eating animal protein is bad. But
is that what they're referring to as animal protein?
Correct. Yeah, because you can get protein from plants too. It's a different type of protein, and it doesn't come with the iron or some of the B vitamins and some other things that are in animal protein. So.
Oh, okay. I guess I missed that part. I have 100 grams of protein usually before noon, so.
Yeah. I don't. Come on.
Yeah. Let me see. Let me just take a look here and see if we missed anything. Yeah, Washington's Medicaid program. Yeah, so roughly 1 in 4 is enrolled in it. And, I'm excited to see, number one, if people start educating themselves a little more, or maybe they start listening and thinking that people aren't so crazy. We go into places sometimes, and I always tell Glenn, I'm like, look, if we're eating out, we're eating out. Don't drill the people because they don't know.
Yeah, they don't know.
Don't waste your time. But he insists all the time on, is the corn in this genetically modified? And I'm like, oh.
You need to film that stuff. That is hilarious.
Telling you, right? And then I was like, what is that? I don't know what that is. And I'm like, oh God, like why? I'm like, let's just go, forget it. Like, because I don't want to hear the answer. Like if we're going out, let's just go out. But there's things like that, I always want to make tortillas, but corn tortillas, but I won't buy the masa in the stores because I know it's GMO, 100%, right? So they had some blue masa, and I thought, oh, okay, well, I know that blue corn's not GMO. Well, it didn't dawn on me, not the whole bag is going to be blue corn. They're going to mix other corn in there. So we get home, and I haven't opened it yet. I'm actually going to take it back. Glenn scanned this little QR code next to all this stuff right up there. Immediately when that QR code comes up, made with genetically engineered ingredients. I went, oh, well, that's great. I'm like, there goes my dream of having homemade corn tortillas. I give up. I have to grind the damn corn myself.
You're going to have to grow it yourself.
Yeah.
Corn yourself.
Yeah. Crazy. Do you garden? Do you garden out there?
We did. But not a lot grows. We need to have a greenhouse to really make it happen. So just because it's overcast all the time and it really doesn't get hot. So. Yeah.
We garden. Glenn built me a greenhouse one year. We tried, not well, but hydroponics and stuff like that. We cleared a whole area because we have a half an acre. So we cleared a whole area because we wanted to do wheat and see what it was like to grow wheat. Like we're always trying things so that we understand how it works, Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So, and when you find the good food in bulk, like we try to can it or freeze dry it.
Yeah, that's a great idea. It's good to read your labels. We need more of that. But also at the same time, some of the stuff that RFK is pushing forward, like the new food pyramid, hopefully changing, SNAP requirements. I think there's like 18 states so far that have changed the SNAP food availability to where people who are on government assistance for food, they can't buy Cheetos and they can't buy ice cream with it.
Right.
They can't buy the things that are going to make them sick.
Can you imagine what this is going to do for the kids in school?
Oh, yeah.
I'm so excited because if we get that crap out of the schools, and it's going to be interesting to see how the food companies push back on this, right?
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that are going to lose. They have everything to lose here. And so what is going to happen to the school and food? Because it's got to be General Mills, right? Because it's all Pillsbury and Tony's Pizzas and things like that in the schools. And literally on the back, it all says that it's genetically engineered on top of it.
Yeah, so this is what's going to happen. There's going to be more states. The 18 have already started implementing some of these new policies. And then we're going to find out which states are full of corrupt politicians, because the ones that won't implement these policies that'll make the citizens healthier, they're using tax dollars, by the way. It's not like they're banning, Cheetos. They're just saying that if you're using tax dollars to buy food, you can't buy Cheetos, because that's not food. Right. So we'll find out which politicians in which states are actually taking, money from these lobbyists of these companies that only create crap food.
Right.
So,
yeah, it's going to be exciting times to come in next.
Yep, absolutely. So on Sunday, we've got a live stream with Glenn Kelly running for governor here in Washington State. Next week, we're going to try to line up some guests for our live streams, but we're going to be talking more about the tax structure and the budget. So it's going to be fun. Numbers are fun, but
yeah. And I actually have somebody coming on about the 15th, about Monday, for the event that's happening on Thursday, to go talk to where they're encouraging people to go talk to their legislators. So we're going to be talking about that on Monday.
Cool. So for those of you watching, if you want to get involved, you want to volunteer, you can go to WTPWA.com. There you go. She put it in the comments. WTPWA.com and volunteer. If you like what we're doing, you like what we're saying, please donate so we can keep running ads. We've had a ton of success with it, so we'll give an update soon, but not tonight because we're past our 30 minutes.
Yes. All right. We will cut out at this point, and we'll see you Sunday, or you'll see them Sunday. All right. Have a good night.